I'll read some of the other responses. So James is trying to start a riot in Leicester, letting random people on the radio saying that people are being beaten up and the police are not doing anything. I don't think that's a fair comment, mate, but you are more than welcome to ring in and put forward a different perspective or indeed a different explanation of recent events. I want to know why people in Leicester, in this case people who are being, I think, described, and no one seems to be disagreeing with this description, as Hindutva, which is a sort of nationalist, extremely right-wing ideology, are in Leicester, often coming in from outside and looking for a scrap is the nicest way I can think of putting it. But if you don't like that analysis, feel free to provide another one. Abbas, but remember, I'm talking about Leicester. I'm talking very specifically about Leicester. Abbas is in Redbridge. Abbas, what would you like to say?
Hi there, James. Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak on your show.
Well, I haven't yet. I could be jumping all over you like a...
Well, I've already said something, so I've already been invited. Thank you very much. No, what I'd like to say is, look, lots of people can make lots of different claims, but even a very rudimentary, basic investigation on Hindutva, RSS, BJP, and some of their politicians and, some of their clergy who have openly said things that would be definitely in this country an arrestable offence, and you'd probably be convicted of hate crime or inciting genocide, basically. So this is not just, people scoring points here. You can do your own research. It's very easy. I mean, the leader of the BJP or the government currently, Modi,
yes,
was banned to travel to the United States of America because when he was the governor of Gujarat, he was implicated in the 1,800 or so Muslims that were lynched, killed and murdered.
You see, you put me in a tricky position now because I don't want to sound as if I'm just steering you away from these events, but I'm interested in what's happening in Leicester. And I know... No, I do. I know what context is and I know what background is, but why are these people going to Leicester and what are they hoping to achieve?
Because this Hindutva movement and the RSS and the BJP, unfortunately, the tentacles of this organisation extend far beyond the borders of India, and they are influencing people outside of India who are often donating money into these organisations, some of which really should be now registered or recorded as terrorist groups, really, because they are really inciting genocide. But this influence is carrying outside of the borders of India, and it's influencing, as I think some of your callers did allude to, not necessarily people who are born and integrated here, but often people who have perhaps recently entered into the country who are still holding those views very much.
And so, I mean, I feel a bit... What's the word I want? I don't want to be too harsh on myself. I mean, in many ways, I'm possibly suffering from a bit of, it's been imported from Asia, therefore it'll be something I'm struggling to understand. But it's far-right extremism, essentially,
Absolutely.
which I'm a bit of an expert on as it goes. So this is exactly like the EFDawah turning up in Luton and trying to turn everybody against Muslims.
Absolutely. And James, what annoys me...
I don't know enough to say that for sure, because I haven't... I mean, I've followed the EFDawah, I've followed that toxic ideology. If you can even call it ideology, sort of hooliganism masquerading as an ideology. So I'm very confident talking about that. I'm not fully confident yet conflating or comparing Hindutva with EFDawah, but you would be, I sense.
Absolutely. And James, what I would say to you, being an incredibly eloquent and intelligent man...
Oh, stop it.
Please do your research.
I will. Well, I am.
And I know you are, but what annoys me is that there seems to be a silence, really, about this issue where it's not being investigated properly and it's not being aired properly. And this, again, it's not about scoring points or making some people look bad, because I don't see this as a mainstream Hindu problem. I've had Hindu people who I've employed, and I had no problem.
Well, I haven't yet heard from, and I don't want to sound like one of those people insisting that all Muslims have to condemn terrorism, but oddly, all I've had so far is Muslim people queuing up to describe it to me from the position of grievance. I imagine there are plenty of Hindus in Leicester who are just as disgusted by what's going on their streets as there are Muslims, but in the interests of full disclosure, I don't think I've had any calls from them yet. And that is why I remind people again that the phone lines are open, particularly for people of the Hindu faith who are in Leicester listening to this on 0345 6060 973. I have to do that. Has Abbas gone? Have I bored?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. Sorry, I thought you've
gone off on one.
You cut me off there. No. So what I'm saying is, if the media would actually investigate these issues properly, call it out, and perhaps put a little bit of pressure on the police that nip this in the bud, and it doesn't matter who's causing the trouble, Muslim or Hindu or whatever, if they're conducting illegal acts.
It should be covered. Well, of course it should be covered, and of course it should be reported. To be fair, it is, and people will always feel when they are on the receiving end of unpleasantness, they will always, or perhaps always, feel that it's not getting enough coverage. But I told you there is no news today, Abbas. There are hardly any stories in the newspapers, and yet both the Times and the Guardian has gone big, as they say, with this. The Times with the story of riot squads being on standby, and the Guardian with concerns about outsiders coming in from outside Leicester and fomenting these problems, fomenting these conflicts. 1212 is the time. 0345 6060 973 is the number that you